X-Men 97 has changed the fate of the MCU forever. There is no going back, familia, and in this video we're covering the 5 main reasons why. In my humble opinion, this is the best project that Marvel has dropped since Endgame, by a mile. Actually, that might be a lie. I'm so sorry, Spider-Man. Like, you're gonna thank me in the future, but this has competition. But if we're talking strictly about the TV shows and the animation, this is up there by a long shot. So let's get started, and little spoiler, reason number 5 might not be the one that you're thinking. For the past 4 or 5 years, it feels like we've been searching endlessly for that magic that the MCU has and can give us when it's at its peak. Vamos a hablar claro, Phase 4 was not that great. There were some gems like Shang-Chi, Black Panther 2, and Loki, but if we're comparing it to the bombshell that was Phase 3, this is like your local YMCA tryhard getting dunked on by Shaquille O'Neal in his prime. And it's not just me saying it, the fans have been vocal about this for years now, and Marvel is just starting to get aware of it. We actually got news pretty recently that the execs behind Marvel Studios, including Kevin Feige himself, are focused on lowering the amount of projects that Marvel is pumping out to work on delivering high-quality experiences versus just pumping 11 projects in 1 year. Enter X-Men 97. Good golly, Miss Molly. This is the first full-blown animated project that is canon to the MCU made by Marvel Animation Studios, and the expectations are now sky high. Beau DeMayo was the showrunner and one of the head writers for the show, and he delivered on his promise to bring something new to the table while paying homage to the great legacy that we got from the original X-Men animated series. It took the visual style, the music, and the characters that we already loved and revamped them in the best way possible. How did they do it? By focusing on 3 very specific concepts. The best part about this series is the character development, as it should be. We get to explore Wolverine's ongoing struggle with his past and his search for his identity, and now that he knows that Jean is forever linked to Scott after the Dark Phoenix storyline, and of course Cable coming back from the future, this is raw and super relatable. Storm is embracing her leadership role and then goes on a full journey of self-reflection, acceptance, and finding her inner strength by losing her powers. Jean Grey and Cyclops could have a separate video altogether, dealing with their relationship on the brink of collapse, a son coming back from the future to save them, and still needing to keep it all cool to lead the X-Men. Wild things to do in just 10 episodes. But this is exactly what the MCU is meant to do. Show us the heroes and villains that we love and layer their paths together with emotional depth, showcasing their growth and their vulnerabilities as well. No banking on nostalgia bait, they simply took the storylines that comic readers love and slightly tweak them in a way that they can be covered in a shorter time span at a faster pace, while also keeping the main characters' shining moments at the center of the stage. They hit just as hard, and it's carved new ground based on the legacy of the past. When it comes to the visuals and the cinematography, this was a masterclass in experimentation. They took the visual style that we love from the retro X-Men series and incorporated it with modern animation techniques to give us something that we've rarely seen from a Marvel project. A perfect mix of nostalgia and innovation. There was not a single action set piece that looked out of place, homie. Hands were rated E for everyone at every corner, and it was glorious. Combat was fluid and well choreographed. The fights made sure that every battle felt important, but then again, it hit so well because they kept the characters' designs as faithful as possible. Every single member of the team got upgraded models when it comes to the shading of their hair and their look of their face, but they still kept that classic look even with the more detailed expressions and their movements. Bro, they gave us the original costumes in a way that made sense and that wasn't cliche. We love that shit. Ay Dios mío, brother. Hearing that original intro was nothing short of sublime, and then you realize that over the course of the show, they were blending the iconic themes that we love from the original series and matching it to the tonal shifts that that story takes. One of the biggest wins for this show is how it was able to weave a complex storyline that both old fans and newcomers can both enjoy and stack them on top of each other with a huge payoff at the finale. The writers were crafting a beautiful balance between giving you the action-packed sequences that we were all expecting and layer it with deeper explorations of the core themes that the X-Men stand for: facing discrimination, unity, and the ethics of power. We got this massive ensemble cast has to feel like a cohesive unit while still allowing the individual stories of their members to shine along the way. The series is reintroducing characters like Cyclops, Jean, Wolverine, and Rogue, each dealing with different factors that affect their personal struggles and their growth, which conveniently also extends to the main villain of the story, which is Bastion. I thought it was gonna be Mr. Sinister, but fuck that, it's not. Bastion's life is complicated, and he's characterized as this menace to society who simply has a different perspective on dealing with the issue of tolerance. I'm pretty sure that in another universe and in another life, him and Magneto would be the best of buddies. However, his presence is felt throughout the season, operating from the shadows and orchestrating the big events, having his Sentinels prep for an epic final showdown that felt inevitable. All of the journeys, from the biggest hero to the smallest villain, was connected to the main storyline, and the finale gave us a glorious ending. The fights against the Prime Sentinels were one thing, but we also got a fitting adversary for the heroes to combat in different stages while figuring out how to unite together and lead a full-on assault against Bastion. Which reminds me, he got super freaking overpowered by taking Cable's arm, and I was not expecting it. He basically got a whole full Ultron level upgrade just by taking my bro's technology. That's not fair. Everyone, and I mean everyone, I'm talking about you, Magneto, had to put aside their differences and search in and deep to work as a unit in order to stop Asteroid M from taking Earth back to the Ice Age.
Where the fuck I am?
Seeing Magneto and Charles's exchange in the little box and helping Eric realize the error of his ways while also sharing how much affection they have to each other as broskies was perfect. In the end, yeah, the heroes win, but it comes at a cost. And that's where we get to the final reason of why this show was so damn good and it saved the future of the MCU. They used all of the cameos and the setup for the sake of the story and not clickbait. By the end of the final episode, we see how the X-Men have been split around different time streams and everybody's fate remains uncertain. Some landed in Egypt around 3000 BC and the others had to pull a full-on anime time skip to go up to the future. And that's where we get the final piece of the puzzle. In typical fashion, we do get some major cameos, but the cameos in this show were only used to better tell the story of the X-Men, not to tease some connection with other characters that we might see in other instances of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It felt like every single episode we got a tease into what the other heroes in this universe were doing. We got to see Spider-Man, Iron Man, Doctor Strange, Captain America, even Morph himself was able to transform into Mr. Fantastic and the Hulk, and in the final episode we also get to see Daredevil joining in the fight too. X-Men 97 makes it truthfully feel like a comic book where all the characters are existing in tandem with each other, and it's not just a novel, haha, gotcha bitch, like you remember this character? He's back. We see them interacting with each other in a way that feels natural, and I love that. Which leads to the end of the show and the end credits scene. That post-credit scene teases the future of the show by getting us an inside look at Apocalypse picking up a playing card in the future, teasing the return of Gambit as one of the Horsemen of Death, which is very cool because in the comics I think he volunteers, but in this case he's already kicked the can, so he's going to be reincarnated as a literal Horseman of Death. On top of that, this is very interesting because right before the credits rolled, we saw that one of the X-Men groups that landed in Egypt like 5,000 years ago got to meet a younger version of Apocalypse near his inception, called Insabanur. So the question then comes up, will we have an evil Apocalypse fighting a good version of Apocalypse to help decide the future of the X-Men and the MCU as a whole? We don't know, and that is the beauty of it. It tells you exactly what we could see in the future while also keeping that excitement of how are they going to change this narrative from the comics moving forward. I love this show, Papa. I think it's pretty obvious, and most of the internet agrees with me as well, which is why I find it ironic that the alienated mutant superhero team that hasn't had its fair chance to shine in the live-action MCU is the exact project that is saving it from extinction. Those are the 5 reasons. If you enjoyed the show and if you've seen it already, let me know what you thought about it in the comments. I'll see you down there.